All right, hello. This is Alexander Wales. Um, what are we doing today? Uh, Working on the exclusion stock again. It's gonna be Pie Shop today, possibly Night Smoke, because I've been wanting to do another minor exclusion. Um, so we'll see. I don't particularly feel like writing today. Hello. I don't feel like streaming or chatting today either. I don't feel like I don't know. It's a depression day for me. But part of being a writer is writing when you don't particularly feel like it. So let's see if we can get this done. We're gonna set PyShep as a 136 FE. It's so PyShep is one of those that's constrained by what's in the story, because he has mentioned a few times, possibly just one time, but I guess two times because he's mentioned once in the text, and he's also mentioned in a description of 13 Horrors, which I should actually pull up for myself. Oh man. Yes, Slayer of Horrors. That's what I want. I think that's it. I think that's the only sentence that is actually relevant in in that whole quest description that I need to worry about when writing this to make sure that it doesn't conflict. Okay, so before I start doing any writing, what is cool about this exclusion zone? It's pseudo magic. It's a pseudo magic exclusion. It's not super relevant to any of this, I guess, but it's pseudo magic, so it's not magic. It's just something you get by being just that good at things. It has a like lone warrior farmer monk who is supremely enlightened and will kill anyone who comes inside. So it is here, I gotta close my window. If there are people talking outside. And I guess the farming stuff. So what I was thinking about last night for like what this zone is about, the in-person zones largely I think work better if they highlight some kind of flaw in either a person or specifically within Juniper. If they are cause for Juniper to meditate on his own deficiencies as a person, or not even that, like his own like internal feelings of some kind. Like I think the exclusion zones work better. That I will try to write PyShop with that in mind. And what does PyShop represent then? I think perfectionism or like ordered rigidity or something like that. I think that if you've read my fiction, you will know that I'm not a perfectionist. Like the stuff that I put out is definitely not stuff that was prevented from going out because I needed to make it absolutely perfect. This is one of those things that tickles me when I'm writing. When it's like we have a like a non-standardized thing here. This to me evokes the imagination when you can look at something like this and you can see that, yeah, okay, it must have been like the naming of this must have been changed at some point, and then they like didn't update the code that it's referred to, so there's like a conflicting thing. I don't know. That's the kind of thing that I like, that it's not going to be like explained why these are different. Okay. So yeah, like within the story, all the exclusion zones which are visited at least have some connection to Juniper as a person. And I do want to keep that up with the zones that are in the exclusion doc exclusively, that are excluded to the exclusion doc. And I think that might have been what the lunar exclusion zone was missing. I'm not entirely sure. I think that's all we need for nature. I think I can get rid of this. I think that I will remember all that. That was my notes from what's like in. Okay, I will keep it there just in case. And also, PyShep is old enough that he is not. He probably would have died if he were human. So he's going to be something else. But I will probably leave that unsaid. Unless I look through here and I see a good one. Actually. Brush would work. Sure, I think. typo. Okay, I'm gonna figure out whether this is one word or two within word to candle later. It's one of those things that I do not like about writing when you have to like track down for consistency's sake something. It just takes like 10-15 seconds, but it's irritating. Yeah, this is I actually don't know how to pronounce that word. Um, Zhengzia? Zhengjia? But the cultivation stuff, yeah. It's one of those words I only ever see printed. Uh, Sensia. Okay. I feel like there are a lot of words I say incorrectly because I only ever I do a lot more reading than Okay, so it's inconsistent. Whether yeah, I thought it might be. Then I would need to check the ebook, which I think has standardization for all things that are not formally standardized. Whatever, it's not a big deal. But yeah, there's a lot of words that I've only ever seen printed, and so I say them wrong because I do more reading and more typing than listening to people speak, especially about fiction. Um, Okay, so this is like pre-Second Empire by a bit. A lot of farming is logistics, so it applies to both. It's one of those things where I want you to imagine a list of perks that come from farming. So there would be some logistics aspects and some hands-on farming aspects and some like informational aspects. It's one of those things where I probably like if I wanted to spend more time on this, if I were like up for it today, I would write out a list of virtues and then just not have that list of virtues be within the text, and just have them sort of inferred or implied. But I don't think I'm going to do that because that sounds like a lot of work. A lot of work for not that much benefit. I mean, I could also include the list, like if I made one, I could include the list in here, but especially because like in theory, Juniper could have gotten it from Reimer. Uh, yeah, I mean it's one of those things where you get something from the labor, but is the labor worth it? It's also one of those making the lists of virtues is really brain draining for me. Also, the list of virtues would be PyShep would have equivalents to them, or like looser versions, or less like strict versions. So it wouldn't even like help that much on that. If anyone wants to make a list of what they think the virtues for combat farming, as described here, are, that would be. I wouldn't use it probably, but if you want a fun project for yourself, you could definitely do that. Oh, got some nice rain coming. Okay. Um, which hopefully means I will not have to water the garden today. Uh, Um, just double checking. Find. Okay. A bit weird it's not discovered by anyone before. It is one of those things where it like is discovered by someone before, but he's the first to like cross some threshold and actually like go nuclear with it. I think part of my idea here is that like I mean that's always the problem with exclusions, but um I don't think it's that they sent a warder and were baffled. I think it's like so the idea is that you like using magic for farming is not like super unusual or anything. It's that if you're using magic on farming and no one knows what magic you're using, it might have some hidden downside, or it's essentially tax evasion if you're not you've got some magic that you're hiding from the government. But I don't think I'm going to go into it there. Would Grack be able to detect it? No. Like, I can change this line. Like, nothing was found. Yeah, I'll leave it how it is. It's one of those things I'll try to keep in mind. Um, he's not a flower mage as well. I do like multi magic. I like it a lot, but it's not gonna be here. Multi magic also helps explain like what a person did to take it further. There is. Ooh, I need to. I was thinking about this last night. I need to just include a note for myself. There was an idea I had last night that I want to include in the doc. Some skipping over that. Magic that was excluded due to. There. Let's. This is one different enough thing. Why was Juniper surprised that people eat that stuff? It's just something that he would instinctively think that you don't do. And some of the Pie Shop stuff, like Pie Shop, it's in the story, but he ends up like killing a bunch of people, and you just assume he's a bad guy. I think that it'll be explained like why he killed those people, but. Yeah, eating stuff from exclusions is a bad idea. If an old mysterious master who's killed a bunch of people gives you a gift of food, it feels to me like it makes sense to turn it down if you have other options. It's sort of like eating dodgy meat from a store. Yeah, I almost never eat meat that's past its expiration date. Um, I mean, it kind of depends, but it's like the upside is you save some money, and the downside is you might get food poisoning, and I just really don't want to get food poisoning. And so even if like 90% of the time it would be fine, 10% of the time you get food poisoning. So I guess it depends how far past the expiration date it is, but I don't know. I used to work at a store that sold food, and I had to do a lot of food safety stuff, and I get kind of paranoid about that kind of thing. Um, And yeah, one of the other things that makes PyShep notable is his just like drive and the number of hours he's willing to put in. Like I really do believe that, you know, if you can go when you need like 8 hours of sleep a day. So, but I mean, there are legitimately people who work 16 hours a day and can do that without like totally flaming out. And those people, you know, I don't fully buy into the 10,000 hours thing. I think some of that's not necessarily junk, but not to be entirely trusted. Yeah. So let me finish this thought first. I think that there are some people who just like can devote the time to something and they get just really really good at it because they just put in so many like an absurd number of hours into doing that one thing to perfection. But those people are pretty rare. Um, Not for like everything, but like I think in life you don't meet those people very often. You just kind of hear about them for having amazing achievements. Um, but yes, the combat part of combat farming, like part of the idea, and I think is mentioned up here somewhere. Is driving off pests or animals and because I have like squirrels come eat my strawberries. Our strawberry patch this year has just been an elaborate effort to feed squirrels. We've gotten almost nothing from it. I have deer come in and munch on herbs and stuff. We have a fence that mostly kept them back, but like the my experiences gardening have been that animals just suck. They will come and they'll just decimate your crops and then you can't really do anything about it. I mean, you can put up fences and stuff, but and you can obviously kill them, but I don't have a gun in the house, so also you're not supposed to shoot a gun in the city, as my wife keeps telling me. Every time I'm like, hey, I should go shoot those deer, keep her pooping her alone. Um, in my state, you're not allowed to shoot bow and arrow except for certain seasons, and you're not allowed to do it in city limits. I mean, sorry, you're not allowed to do bow hunting. There's a specific bow hunting season for deer, and you're not allowed to do it in city limits. I don't know about spear throwing. I'll have to check. But I actually found out slingshots are illegal in my city too. We're one of the few cities in the United States where a slingshot is illegal, unless you have permission from the chief of police. And I emailed the chief of police, and he never got back to me. So that's why I don't have a slingshot. Sad story. Um, just gonna, sorry if it gets noisier, I'm gonna open my window a little bit more. There's a nice cold breeze going by. It's like 60 degrees Fahrenheit, which is, you know what, I'm not gonna look it up. It's like 20 something Celsius. uh, so that was one of the things I was thinking. The biggest sign would be that he never left the area again. Um, the second sign would be if there was someone who had some lower level of his skill. Um, I don't think any of that's going in the doc, but it's the kind of thing where there are like two, maybe three ways of that you could determine after the fact as a historian that the skill was excluded. Then, um, army size. No, army group size. Yeah, you notice it in farm yields. Some of it would be. Well, this is a terrible website. I don't need that to be multimedia. I just need to know. Yeah, here. I guess we'll say platoon. I'm really not up on military stuff at all, and I kind of feel like I should be because I like butt up against it from time to time. Okay, Mink, I hope you don't mind that I take that. Because I like that. Okay, a large platoon. I need to name this kingdom. I was going to control F kingdom, but it's going to bring up too many results. Let me look at bacon times. Handy dandy map. This. Oh, there's the spine of the world. Just gonna go Kingdom of Volman. I like that name. And the place for the kingdom's name will be here. You always check. Okay. You always check that that your like made up thing isn't accidentally like a slur or you know, or like means something. Sure. That doesn't like mean something to some anime community or something. I try to always remember to do that because like sometimes you can just like pick a name and then there's like a group of people that have like really strong association of whatever with it, which you don't generally want. Yeah, I checked the map before I started on this one. Pie Shop will consume a city for farmland. Ba, ba. I think the age thing is going to come up, which is why I made that change there. Um, um, no, these all suck. Sorry, this is like one of the slowest parts of writing is trying to figure out a name because I need a name for the city. Um, Here we'll do. When you detect language. Okay. I don't remember where the name Pie Shop comes from. Uh, Stad is probably too... not Russian, but... Like, his name is Paishep. Ideally, there'd be, like, at least a little bit of cultivation stuff, but I don't know enough about cultivation, so... Oh, Olmsted is an actual place? Define that for me. Oh, right. Okay, I'm just gonna put to do in here. I'm gonna deal with this later. I need to get cracking on this. Oh my god, it's already been an hour. How long is this? How long is this? 1,000 words for an hour. Yeah, it's fine. Here, we are gonna do that. A food pun. But I'm just gonna pass by that because I feel like I sometimes am like going totally fine with writing. I'm at like 20 to 30 words per minute, which is for me a good pace. I'm not Pirate Abba, but and then I'm like, oh, I need a name, and I will just sit there for like 5 minutes trying to do it. So moving on. This is too long of a sentence, I know that. Okay, whatever. When is the Second Empire? The Second Empire is 1763. You know what? We're just going to do 1762. What? No. 175. 174. This is one of those things where I'm like displacing how many people. I'm gonna go with hundreds of thousands, which means this is like a relatively small city by modern standards, but still pretty large. And it's a slow spread. I like that there are slow spread exclusions. It's good for variety. It's good for there to be exclusions where potentially someone could have done something if they had acted immediately and with like overwhelming force. And it's also good to have ones that just are just immediate hellscapes from basically the word go. Yeah, I like how Glassy Fields could have been stopped. Because that to me is more. It gives it something compelling to like have this like. So the Exclusions doc has this historical and academic lens through it, and that's the kind of thing that I like about history. I like. You can think about like who did what and why, and what did they know at the time, and how could it have gone different. It's one of the things I like about historical fiction. Although I would never write historical fiction. It's just too much research. Although, that said, I I've been writing some of Kitchen Sink, which takes place in it starts in like 1977, and then has like a bunch of historical stuff, so I find myself looking up like, okay, when did the Department of Education get founded, and I have to do all this historical stuff and try to make sure that it is true to the time and stuff like that. But that is part of what this historical document, part of that feeling that partly it's for a variety, but also partly it's because you can imagine how things were different. And this particular date, 174 FE, you can imagine how that would be part of the discussion, how this exclusion zone would be part of the discussion during the founding of the Second Empire. Why there would be in the air this idea that something needed to be done, that there needed to be more international cooperation and things like that. Okay, this needs to be structured different. I think you put killing first. I don't think you need of people. I'm still missing half the prompt. Oh, I'm missing I think the feature is going to be short for this one. But I'm fine with it being long, so long as I find it interesting. The actual exclusion stock is I know now it's not going to run to 80,000 words, which would be like a full frickin' novel. But the exclusion stock is going to be quite long. If you look at the zone on the map, this is a very large zone. I mean, yes. I don't. I kind of thought it would be fun to have a list of like, here are the ways that people have tried to deal with this guy, and here's like why they don't work. But I don't think I'm actually going to do that. I really like that phrase, normalize relations. I feel like I've used it in this doc or in Work the Kindle probably too much. I'm going to leave it in for now. But it's one of those things that's I'll hopefully look at on the edit. And yeah, features I think is just going to be a single paragraph. So this will be a long one. It'll have taken. I'm going to try to do 2 this stream. I'm not streaming Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I'm going to a family reunion, which I don't know. It'll be fine, but I'm not super looking forward to that. It's good to see family. There's just gonna be like 30 people there, and that's a lot of people for my tastes. But so I'm gonna try to get two done this stream because I'm gonna be gone for like half of next week, and hopefully I can hit my dungeons deadlines for that before I have to leave, and then also hit the dungeons deadline for the following week on Monday. Can't use express twice. Showed no. Using the same word twice is one of the easiest things to do on accident, and one of the things that takes people out of a work the fastest. So you always have to be aware of that, and I really wish that, like, of all the things that Google Docs will try to correct you on, I wish that were like that repeat word thing were something that we're capable of doing. Features. 47 is pulled from a hat, but you know, if I were being more careful about it, I think I would probably count the number of different types of produce. Remove that outside observers line. This is to just remove a tiny bit of distance from what's being said here. Like you can coach the language in more distance, which makes it feel more academic and stuff like that. But I think it does reduce impact. But I mean that's kind of the style of the document thus far, and also the kind of thing that I want to maybe have a lighter touch on. But it's also one of the things that I'll be looking at in the edit is just go through all these and figure out what the proper level of academic distance is within the work. And then also we break it up with notes from members of the party and stuff like that. Freaking math. Okay. What? Current date. 5/27. 5/27. 5/27 minus 133 plus 40. Okay, we'll just say more than 400 years, so I don't need to like worry about math, and also I don't feel like you would give his exact age if you're writing an article. Not nearly 400, he's over 400. A member of long-lived Broche, however you say that, Pyshep is now over 400 years old. And then I do also want to write an exclusion zone where someone has died of old age, uh, like an exclusion zone that just took care of itself through time. Um, because so many unpersoned exclusions make old age not a problem. I think it's funny, but it's also like it's also for variety. It's there are 80 of these, and I do think that I might cut it down to more like 60, um, or to numbers that are more in line with what's in the text. But I think having that kind of variety every once in a while is very good, especially because I know some people are going to read this like cover to cover. Um, I was actually thinking that the way I might release the exclusions doc is to just do one a day and just post them to like archive of our own as individual chapters or something, like short chapters. The other way to do it would be to package them as like 5 at a time or something. But I like the idea of just doing one a day, and then people can talk about it or whatever. And if you don't care about that, you just wait. But I think that would be a better way to consume it than to read 40,000 words of what's basically world building and a history book cover to cover. I do worry it's going to be like the Silmarillion, where it's just like a whole bunch of stuff that people don't want to read. Also, that way, I think, hopefully, I'm going to have Dolly 2 access by then, and I can do one illustration per zone. I really like that idea, because I can potentially do it for like $1 per zone. That'd be like $80, which isn't that's fine. Um, I need to remember how Archive of Our Own handles image embedding and stuff like that. But I kind of had the idea that I would do an illustration per zone and see if there was if I could get something that I like. AO3 does images fine. Good to know. But yeah, I would need DALL-E 2 access to be able to do that, and they have been on the wait list for just like 2 months. And I resubmitted with I didn't resubmit, but I submitted a second email account that I had. But I think some people definitely would read 40,000 words of world building all at once if if it meets a certain quality level, but which hopefully this does. But it does need to be edited, and probably something I said I was going to do 10 of these and then read back through what I had and like do a determination. Did not do that. Matto, what did you miss? I don't know. This is a longer one for sure. I'm looking at this and I'm like, yeah, it definitely could have like spent half the word count on this. But I don't think there's anything there that I think entries should be as long as they need to be to get across what I want to get across and to have all the interesting stuff in it and then get out. And so if like Night Smoke, I think is going to be shorter, so I might actually still do that today, even though it's been like almost an hour and a half of uptime. I think... Okay. Okay, we are gonna call... Oh, no, I wanted a food pun. To-do. I don't like leaving the to-dos. Okay. Close this. Close this. Cornelia. You know what? That is dumb enough to work for me. Vegeta. Is that better than Cornelia? I like Cornelia better. I like Cornelia better because it's... I don't know. It's the right kind of dumb for me. Alright, we are doing Night Smoke. Are we doing Night Smoke? Am I willing to stream for another probably hour to finish this? You know what? Worst case scenario, we just finish this next time. That's totally fine. Minor, Night Smoke. This is, I think, Utherian era. We're gonna do this post-Uther. We're gonna do this... Yeah. Okay, so I need to find a document. I'm going to be right back, but I'm not actually going to be right back. I'm just going to pull this up and make sure that I'm not giving you a peep into my Google Drive, which has a bunch of stuff that is not released. What am I looking for? I'm looking for D&D. So Night Smoke actually comes... Alright, see ya, Macon. Macon. I'm sure you told me how to pronounce that at some point. Okay, and Night Smoke was a city in my God Game campaign. And so I'm just looking. I'm just looking for the document that has the actual stuff, because I'm going to look at that and not copy it verbatim, but think night smoke is within the text is not mentioned. Very much at all. And his other name was the Skulldark City of Evernight, which I liked because it was just like ridiculously. Okay, that's a good note. You know what? I think that Night Smoke does not actually have that good of a description here. Okay, so I'm just going to close this, and I will go back to this because I don't think there's. Anyway, so this is like a D&D doc that I made. I don't think this has all that much about this place, but this is sort of what we're going with. Okay. Oh, Captain Blue in the Bottle was originally from this campaign, from this site. In my D&D campaign, this is where he had his genesis. That's a fun fact for you. I don't think. I don't think I actually need that. I don't think that actually tells me anything. So we're just going to go ahead. Oh, and I think here, Night Smoke, gave it a date. That was 32 FE. This is like just post Uther. 20 square miles, City of Always Night. And let me do Pi Shep is done-ish. Sorry, I just need to grab the date here, 136. I'm really trying to keep this up to date, as they say, with these dates and stuff. So, okay. Yeah, right. Smallest, geographically smallest. Here. I was going to see if there was anything on here for Night Smoke. And there does not seem to be. And I know it's on the map. I don't think its exact location was necessary. This is a wonderful map, by the way. The only thing okay, Night Smoke's right there. Not that far from this is like relatively close. Port City. Good to know. That's the kind of thing that's why I checked the map. Yeah. Um, I love this, by the way. The Skulldark City of Evernight. I think it's just so it's like such a like edgy. It's almost too ridiculously edgy. But it's like this is a classic hive of scum and villainy. Um, so and this is going to be a somewhat short entry. Okay. Oh, damp temperatures. That's not a thing. Um, all right, you can ignore that. All right. This okay, possibly as an attempt to give the city. Whatever the intent. Monsters don't spawn in the. Okay, so sorry. I usually start these exclusions by saying like, what do I find cool about this? Um, Night Smoke is like it's kind of a fallen city. It's a place where um, there's like huge amounts of crime and organized crime and all kinds of bad stuff. Uh, like predatory behaviors and like a severe lower class and like a like downtrodden lower class and stuff like that. And part of what I like, part of what I find interesting here is that yeah, like a big cyberpunk city without the cyber, and also kind of without the um, like rich and powerful upper class. I mean, there's a little bit of that, but also not as much fascism. But the part of what I like about this one is that it's not really the exclusion itself. Yes, there's a city that's in perpetual night, but it's not. Um, the fact that the city is in perpetual night is not the like primary source of all the problems within the city, and the reason it's a minor exclusion is more that it's sort of this city that's been extremely dysfunctional and no efforts at reform have ever worked and stuff like that. Um, and if not for the fact that Night Smoke was just this bad city to live in, this like wretched place, it would probably not even be a minor exclusion. Probably would be a free exclusion. Like you can live there totally fine. It's just always night. That's part of the definition of exclusion is also is like a little bit wibbly wobbly. It's like a government, or I mean, at least for the types, like an actual exclusion is a specific effect, but then how the Empire of Common Cause classifies the exclusions is an interesting thing. So it's just a minor exclusion. It's always night, but the main thing that makes the city dangerous is that it's a dangerous city. Not much arable land, no, and there's not enough land. I mean, 20 square miles is not enough to like do farming. It was campaign bait, yeah. I mean, I ran this city as part of a campaign, and we like they stayed in there for like 12 sessions or something like that, relatively long for a set piece, and they went all back and forth, and there's a lot of unsavory characters and stuff. I didn't run it as deadly or as harsh as Juniper is implied to have run things, but it kind of was supposed to have that flavor that it's like a place of cruelty and slavery and stuff like that. So yeah, it's a hive of scum and villainy. It's like what Gotham is sometimes portrayed um, as just being this like wretched place where it's always raining and no one ever sees a sunny day and stuff like that. Um, Baron Jewel, similar, yeah. I mean, Baron Jewel is also a hive of scum and villainy, but it's texturally different. Any point during the year. Okay. For history. Sorry about that. I usually put my phone on silent. And I really, really, really hate when I'm watching a stream and I hear someone else's notifications. Okay. Well, so there is something in the in Worth Candle called the projection layer, which is this idea that sunlight gets filtered. Uh, sunlight goes through something called the projection layer, which results in varying sunlight in different places. Because there's no latitude or longitude. I mean, there is latitude or longitude, but it works different. And so the projection layer is an attempt to have variable amounts of sunlight in different areas of the world, so that you can have different climates. And then the projection layer is also what's responsible for seasons, because it can vary through the year in like thickness or whatever as sunlight gets filtered through the projection layer. So this is some kind of projection layer manipulation thing, and I think projection layer manipulation also appears in a different thing here in a different exclusion zone, but I don't know which one it is off the top of my head. I was going to try and find it so that I can make sure that these are... Oh, no. I saw it. I just saw it. Projection, question mark. Lenticular magic. Yeah, it's this one. So, whatever is done for night smoke needs to be distinct from whatever's done for lenticular. And crazily, I don't think this is anything. This is just like a two-word question for myself. So that's not, in terms of what I have in terms of planning. That's not great. So I'll figure that one out. I might need to totally scrap lenticular or what I have for lenticular. I can't remove this skill at this point without other knock-on effects, but I might need to rethink that one. But I think what lenticular was like you alter the projection layer and to just have like a beam of sunlight opening up from the heavens to like fry your enemies or something like that. It could potentially be the opposite of night smoke, which would be funny. You know what? I'm gonna leave a note for myself. I worry a little bit that watching these, yeah, I'm gonna do ion can too, because that gets across. Well, get the question mark. That gets across what's going on in my head. I do worry that with these streams, I must see just incredibly unable to focus on anything for any given length of time. I feel, especially verbalizing thoughts, I feel like I trail off on a sentence and just like start a totally new thought or new sentence, and it's just like barely holding a coherent string of words together. I'm like hopping back and forth between documents. This is how I write, though. Okay, night smoke. And yes, penumbral. Yeah, I don't have I don't have ADHD, but yeah, penumbrals needs to be included there. They're the shadow people. Yeah, I tend to remember the threads. I tend to be able to back up and like to keep several threads in working memory and then finish a thread and then go back to the previous one. But my wife says that if I'm not 100% focused on something, it can be very difficult to like hold a conversation with me if I am jumping around from different things and not directly engaged in conversation if my mind's just running. I do find in conversation if I'm just talking about one thing, though. I've actually been tested for a lot of um, neuroatypical conditions, and I'm a normie, as far as I know. Of the something river, this river is unnamed. Yeah, that's the word I don't know. um, and then most of this is going to be features. I think. I think the history does not need to be terribly long. To do. Runaway magic that put the whole world into night. Yeah, that is the kind of thing where you look at exclusion and you're like, yeah, maybe this isn't so bad that there's this breaking mechanism. No, polities. I want. You can ignore that. Okay. Might there be tornadoes? Yes. But I don't know enough about weather. I don't know enough about weather to know exactly how weather would be impacted. I'll put a to-do for that in the features. But I'll probably do that off screen or off stream. To do investigate weather, and I will try to make a determination about what. Because yes, it like there's no sunlight, so the air is colder. It is a cold city because there's it's always colder than the surroundings. So is there a Twilight area? The the initial idea for the in the campaign, what happens is that as you walk towards the city, you see the sun dip lower on the horizon, and the closer you walk to the city, the lower you see the sun dip. But I don't think that works within the projection layer framework. And also, I think that's just a stark contrast between day and night. I will put that in features because that's interesting enough. How does the night smoke rank compared to the hells? It is. It depends on your position. If you are. Well, I'll put some of this here, but if you're not a slave, but if you're part of the lower class, if you're like homeless, or if you're being extorted in something, I don't know. I think it's still not as bad as the hells, but it sort of depends on your definition. If you're in a position of power, it's it's not a bad place to be. You just need to worry about getting like shanked in the back or whatever. I find it's funny I put plural marriage there because I definitely meant that in the sense of like harems. Harems? I guess that goes with like. Yeah. Oh, drug use was the other one. But like bad drugs, not like good drugs. Okay. The specific magic or effect, it's alteration to the projection layer. I don't think it's going to go into detail here. I actually like the idea that this is like also this was a partial exclusion of lenticular magic, or that lenticular magic had two partial exclusions that together include like the entirety of lenticular magic. but I think that will go in. Um, I think that will go in the lenticular magic exclusion. Like one magic that strips the projection layer down and just like superheats the area with uh, like unleashed sunlight, and a different magic that blocks sunlight entirely. But I need to do some more thinking about lenticular magic. So right now we're gonna say this is a partial exclusion of lenticular magic. Arson, murder, and jaywalking. Yeah. No, I mean this more in because like the drug use. I don't know. This is my own personal opinion, but like pot's fine. Mushrooms are fine. Once you start getting towards like heroin and meth, then I start having some issues because people can like spiral from it so often. But it's the same for plural marriage. I think most of the time it's fine. It's just you get stuff like what the Mormons do, where it's 14-year-old girls being sold into not sold, but like traded into marriages with like extremely older men. Lots of magical drugs, yeah. I have a libertarian streak as far as a lot of this stuff goes, but this is a thing that's likely to change. I just the way I try to write is to just roll with it. Yeah, lots of magical drugs. Lots of drugs that people would probably generally agree are not great. And yeah, that's my personal view on drug use, which colors my understanding of like what it is like to live in a city like this, where people are just using opiates or whatever to dull the pain in ways that would be more regulated and less predatory in other polities. But I don't really want to write a paragraph on magical legislation of drug use or whatever. If a magic gets fully excluded, would any previous partial exclusions stop existing? Yes. But I don't know that there's an example of that happening. I think that happens in the story actually, but it's not. It's one of those things that's not that interesting to have an exclusion just close. I think the only example I'm going to have of an exclusion just closing because of a different exclusion is this one right here, that I was thinking about last night. Yeah, crocodile. Um, okay. remove that to-do, and I think that is fine for this. Oh, no. I'm gonna bring over the towers thing from this. There's like this system of control and stuff. It's one of those. Is there a zone for soul magic? It's one of those things where it's like kind of, I don't know. It's so academic that I don't like the question. It like doesn't affect anything except maybe your head canon. So I am going to include this system of towers. Well, like the zone can be somewhere that Juniper doesn't know about, which would prevent him from exploiting it. Um, this is going to go to features, I think. And we'll leave that to do there. With these borders. I don't think I'm going to list out all the towers, but this is this is originally what it was. So like, can't really do this because vampires are all dead in Worth the Candle. Um, can't really do this because, well, I guess revision mages are a thing. Captain Blue in the bottle, yeah. Um, can't do this because doppelgangers are extinct. Uh, I mean, you could have a velocity mage. Can't use this because I think werewolves aren't a thing. I might be misremembering. I thought all werewolves were killed off in or like contained. I need to do that. And obviously, blue in the bottle's out. Lich necromancer is not a thing. And yeah, so this was the D&D campaign that I was running while I was writing Worth the Candle. So you definitely see things in here like velocity outlawed. Yeah, sure. You see things like velocity mages and revision mages and stuff like that. I think I am going to describe one tower. And I think it's going to be the Tower of the Blade. No, Control Shift V. Yeah. Learning my key commands. Run by pinch. Not underlings. Underlings the wrong word. And I think the system of the Obscurus, the Umbra, the Penumbra, and the Effulgent. I think I was happy with the system when I made it, but I don't think it's going in here. So I've got describe order, investigate whether. Yeah, I was gonna do the. Most plants that rely on sunlight do not grow within the zone. Tenebraphilic. Tenebrific. What is tenebrific? Alright, tell me. Tell me what this word is. No, why would you... Okay. This is the thing that annoys me, because... because it wanted me to change it to that word, and then it's, like, incapable of defining it. Gloomy. Okay, we're gonna use that word. I've never heard of it before, but that is totally fine. Tenebrific plants. Accustomed. Okay, I'm nearing the end of this. It's 2 hours, 15 minutes. That's... I still have a chapter of Dungeons I haven't finished, which is due in 16 hours, something like that. Oh, okay. I'm gonna leave those other ones for next time, because these I need. The border one I don't need research. The weather one I will look into it for next time. Yeah, I'm ready to be done with this. For next time, we are gonna do... I won't mark off Night Smoke is done just yet. You know what? City of Lasting Blood sounds great. Let's put in... It's great. It's a little weird. I like it. And then maybe this one I will need to figure out what the end is. I just like I've done most of the stuff that I had a bunch of planning for, and am now left with stuff that I have less of a plan for, which is fine. You know what? I think maybe lenticular. Let's do that one for next time. Sunbeam of Godly Power. Okay, that is the stream for today. Thank you for joining me. I hope you had fun. I was not feeling super great when I started this. I think I feel a little better now, which writing sometimes does. So I'm glad I didn't just sit in bed. Yeah, and I will see you. I'll be streaming tomorrow and the next day, which is Tuesday. And then I won't be streaming for the rest of the week after that. Yep. See you guys later.